Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Village Law SEQFC preview show. My name is Darren Lutton. If you're joining us for the first time, we talk about all the competitions that are now in the Football Queensland Pyramid. Now, we've got all the FQ, Metro, North and South competitions kicking off this weekend. Also, FQPL2 will be starting, so we'll dive deep into those competitions. We've also got the NPL and FQPL competitions that we've only had one game start, haven't we? So anyway, we'll talk about all of those this week. More comps coming on in the next few weeks, and we'll spread our wings a little bit further. We've got some guests tonight. Let's say g'day to Tony Georkas. G'day, Tony.
Good evening. How did we enjoy our break?
Oh, mate, it was very soggy, wasn't it?
Not nice at all. I feel sorry for Mitchelton.
Yeah, so a lot of clubs were affected, but here's the thing. I mean, you'll notice that a lot of these clubs were old clubs where the Brisbane City planners went, oh, well, look, that's a floodplain. We'll just throw a sporting ground on there. And so, you'll find that most of the new clubs have survived, and it's the old ones with the old planning rules in place that have all got submerged.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say from the start, absolute tragedy for all these clubs that have been affected. But I hope that when they rebuild, floating clubhouses, that's got to be the only way. Isn't that right, Spencer Lawson?
Back again. Yeah. So I think, look, it happened several years ago. I'm pretty sure East got it pretty badly then as well, from memory. So yeah, it would make sense when they are rebuilding these things that they are making them somewhat flood-proof, because it just seems like one of those unavoidable accidents that's going to happen every 10 or so years, I think. So,
yeah, and look, it could happen even more frequently now with the old climate change and the changes to the weather. I mean, I remember when East got rebuilt in 2011, I was shown all the changes that they've made to flood-proof them for the next weather event, and it didn't really work, did it? So floating clubhouses, it's the only way. Engineers, get on it. We've got two more guests to introduce us to this evening. We've got Tom Connolly, formerly of KPR. He's now with Oldbridge. G'day, Tom.
Hey guys, how's it going? How was the break for you, Darren?
Mate, I'm moving house, so no break. No break at the moment. It's just packing and sorting everything out. Logistics.
No fun, mate.
How was your move, mate, from KPR to Oldbridge?
It's been good. Wasn't expecting to coach this year, truth be told. But something came along and I decided to jump on board and see what it was like, and I've been really impressed so far. And it's a good club so far, and looking forward to the season.
Oldbridge, of course, an old club that's come back to the pyramid. Yes. All right, we've got one more guest with us this evening, and it's Springfield United that are ganging up on us this evening with Spencer's new gig as the host of SEQFC
TV. Yes,
that's the one. Yeah. Scott Harding, president of Springfield. How you going?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Good. Now, I understand Springfield. No worries with the weather, yeah.
We got lucky. We luckily, because we're on the top of the hill, we seem to get away with it. But I do feel very, very sorry for a lot of the local clubs that were hit, particularly Western Spirit down the road. Cops it pretty badly, I thought. And look, it's nice to see the cleanup happening. It's, as you said already, it'll be nice to see the council realise and mitigate against these problems happening in the future.
Definitely. I remember talking to one of the sponsors of Western Spirit, the services club that's nearby. They were 2, maybe 3 meters underwater. So they've got 2 levels, and their top level got flooded as well.
Yeah.
Just crazy amount of water. Anyway, engineers, get on it, find us some solutions. Great to see the football back this weekend. Let's kick things off. Tony, let's talk NPL. No matches so far. We're kicking off this weekend with round 4, and we've got some absolute crackers. Let me just roll these ones off. Olympic against Brisbane City, Lions against Gold Coast Knights, and Gold Coast United against Moreton Bay.
Looking forward to heading down to Goodwin Park on Saturday night, which is a surprising night to have it. But yeah, I think it'll be a nice, interesting game. I think Zach Anderson's loss will be a big one for Olympic. How they cover that. So they've basically lost their spine. There's a plug in the centre of the midfield, the centre back. I think City will give them a good run for their money. And we'll see what happens. And also Lions, Gold Coast United will be a cracker too. Gold Coast Knights.
We were talking pre-show, Tony. I think you, in the first show, you were tipping Olympic to do extremely well, and you're going to temper your predictions now.
He's a bigger loss than a lot of people think, because he basically directed them around the park. He had the calming influence. Okay, they've got a very experienced bloke that will probably fill in that role, which is Matt Monday, if they can keep him on the park. But what happens after that?
Yeah. Let's move quickly on to the FQPL. We'll talk more about the other competition starting this weekend. So we'll move on from the NPL. Looking at this weekend's fixtures, Southwest Queensland Thunder against Pride is big. Magpies against Sunny Coast, that's big. Strikers got the bye, the one match that's been played so far. Knights against Mitchie, Redlands against Roachdale. There's no real blockbuster there, is there?
No.
Anyway, all right, let's move on then.
I'm gonna say how. Like, I do think Redlands versus Roachdale. I was scanning over Redlands' squad today, and I do think they do have a fairly solid squad to make that the match of the round in that particular league this week. But I just want to point out how ridiculous it is in a pyramid structure in a league at that level to have a bye round. I'm sure something could have been maneuvered to shuffle teams up or whatever, but I just think it's a bit ridiculous to have a bye round at that level of the game. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, hopefully everyone else can catch up with Strikers after they've dominated the pyramid on with 3 points for the last 3 weeks.
One more year and then that gets sorted, hopefully. That's the plan anyway. All right, now let's talk in a little bit more depth about FQPL 2. Virginia, North Star, Surfers Paradise, Apollo entering the competition, along with Wolves, who got relegated, Holland Park, who got relegated, Souths, who got relegated, Sanford, who got promoted. No, Sanford were there last year, and Albany Creek are the other promoted team. I'm going to roll off my top four here, guys. I am going to say Taringa to win the league, Surfers Paradise, North Star, and Albany Creek. Tony, what do you think of that?
Just speaking to a few people that have played against Surfers Paradise Apollo, they seem to think that they're the team to beat in that comp. I haven't seen North Star. They've got a few good players from Moreton Bay, apparently under 23s. Albany Creek, Glockner always does well there. And Taringa, I don't know too much about. But yeah, obviously you know more about Taringa than I do.
Taringa have got Sean Karen-Bassett. So I always keep thinking, is this the year that someone's going to poach him? And he just
He
stays.
won't leave. He won't
He
leave.
stays and he keeps scoring goals every year. I think this might be Taringa's year. They were close last year, just a little bit off getting it done. This year, I think they'll get over the line. It's not on any player that they've signed or anything like that, just a gut feeling.
Yep.
Spencer, are you looking this high up the ladder?
Yeah. So, look, I think teams that, for me, it would be like the safe bet would be saying teams like South and Holland Park will be up there or roundabouts. But I do think that, as weird as it seems to pick two newly promoted teams, I just think that Surfers and Ace will be too strong. I remember saying at the back end of last year when we had the two Ace boys on the show, and I was saying that they're just going to walk the league. But I think Surfers have kind of popped up to beat the second best BPL team last year, like absolutely thumped them in the qualifier. Like, I know that's a one-off game, but absolutely thumped them in the qualifier. I think just shows the level of class that they've got. And I think they'll be pushing to become one of the next Gold Coast big boys.
Yeah, definitely. It should be a really interesting competition this year, just looking at all those clubs.
I was very skeptical of FQPL2 last year with some of the sides that were in it, but I think it looks like it's nicely balanced now. It looks like it's a very intriguing league moving forward.
Definitely. Looking for Wolves, Souths and Holland Park to get that stability and get themselves going again. And Coomera have their off-season signings. Are there any special players amongst who they've signed? Will that year of just being in the competition be enough to help them push on? All right. And then there's Sanford with Trevor Rodman being back there. That's going to be interesting to see the effect that he has on that club as well. All right, guys. Oh, just quickly, are there any standout fixtures from those? Gold Coast Derby with Surfers Paradise taking on Coomera.
I think Grange and Ace. Grange were up there last year. Grange and Ace, that'll be a cracker, I think.
Yeah, definitely. That is Saturday at Lanham Park. All right, let's move on to the FQPL3 and we'll be able to bring in the other guys here. So 8, 10 to 12 team competition. I'll give you my top 4 and let you speak to the rest. I've got Pine Hills and St George Willawong. I can't split those two at the moment. The Lakes, Newmarket, I expect them to do really well, and Bayside. That's my 5 to go into 4, really.
Generally agree with you there. I think the Lakes are definitely the side to watch in this competition myself. That's my view.
It's hard to write off St George. I think St George will be a strong side. New coach come in. They look to have a decent side. The Lakes, I can't write off. I think I've said it in the past. Last year, Josh Fern is an absolute quality player. Having seen him when he was playing against Metro back in I think Cap 3 back in the day. So he's an absolutely quality player. Pine Hills, you can't write off Leo. And I'm going to say it, as much as it'll piss him off, him and his checkbook, you can't just write it off.
Him or Terry Kirkham, which one?
Yeah, I think I think again, like last year, it'll be the exciting thing. And that part, you get to halfway through the season, it'll be exciting as at the bottom of the table as well. Did a gap bounce back? UQ, Spirit. Look, they've had some very decent preseason results. I think, but yeah, well, like. It would be nice. It would be nice to have Springfield meet Spirit in FQPL 4 next year.
Yeah, that's my dream. Absolutely.
I've got the Gap and Stormers as the two teams that to be nervous about this season.
Yeah, I think Stormers. Obviously, I don't think getting thumped 4-0 by a side a fair few divisions below is anything to be confident about going into the season.
Who beat them?
Ridge Hills. Ridge Hills beat them 4-0 in the FFA Cup.
Oh dear.
So it's not like they weren't playing for anything. It's not like it was a preseason friendly. You can't really jump to conclusions with preseason friendlies. But when it comes to a competitive match like the FFA Cup, when you're supposed to be putting your strongest side on the pitch and put your best foot forward for the season, I do think it's a bit of a knock to them, I think.
All right, let's move now to FQPL 4. My top 4 teams in this competition, I think I saw North Pine in pre-season. I think they're going to have an excellent year. I think they're going to be brilliant. So between North Pine and Logan Metro, pretty much as it was last year. The other two, I had Moggle and one more, Ripley, with Ipswich City and New Farm to be the strugglers.
Spencer, I'll let you deal with this, Spencer.
I look, I think North Pine. I don't think we've had a chance to do a show since the grand finals last year, Darren. So I wore my Logan Metro shirt that was given to me by Sammy Escobar over there, and you had your stubby cooler for North Pine, and I think it ended up being 4-1 to Logan Metro. Like, I don't know if you saw that game. It was an absolute cracker from Logan Metro. They absolutely played them off the park. Look,
Yep.
Lewis Melgar's back there this year.
Metro quality. That's my team.
Yeah,
Metro
I think
quality.
it was a big surprise from in the FFA Cup. Again, but referring back to the FFA Cup, they got done by, I think it was Runaway Bay 5-0, which was a massive surprise. And that's very uncharacteristic from Metro. But I think Redcliffe will be up there as well. They've kind of broken away from the PCYC. I've given shit to Jamie Hillier in the past, and look, you can't deny the fact that he's an absolute quality player and will steer them to the level where I think they should be. They were a quality side last year as well. I'm not sure if Scott agrees, but they were a decent side last year as well in FQPL 5. I think this year you'll see a lot of the teams under the new structure that were promoted from last year from their respective leagues go on and push on with it under the new structure this year as well. So I wouldn't mind seeing Redcliffe. I know Scott did throw to me regarding Ripley. I know that's where
I'm not touching that.
They're without they've lost. I believe Brody Kenyon has decided to no longer play at that competitive level. So I think he is playing Metro League, formerly City League. So that means that they can obviously pull on him when they need him. And no doubt they will. But yeah, look, he's two big losses in, I think, Weatherby and Kenyon, who have basically been the spine of that team for the last, since their inception into Football Brisbane.
I think for me, the two obvious ones are obviously North Pine and Metro. They've been very impressive the last few years. But like Spencer was saying, I think a few teams that have come up in the last few years and with the new restructure, I think they'll do quite well. And I was really impressed with Redcliffe last year when we played them. They got quality players all across the park. And I think North Brisbane, no one's mentioned them as yet. They've got a new field in the last few years. The culture of the club's pretty good. They won the league last year in both Razzies and first won the grand final in both divisions. So I think they'll be up there, whether or not, they'll push for the top 4. But I think they're one to watch out for as well.
I do think it's going to be North Pine and Metro. It's just the other two teams that come in with them. I think Moggle love proving people wrong. That seems to be their thing. Do you know what I mean? And Chris Nelson, who I know quite well from over there, have spoken about the spirit they have at their club a few times, and I'm impressed with Moggle. I think Moggle will be in the mix. And there's going to be a Smoky. I think it's going to be a Ripley or a North Brisbane or a Redcliffe coming in that last position. But I think, yeah, certainly Metro and North Pine are the two to beat.
Let's move on now to the FQPL 5 and Old Springfield United competition. Now let's see who I've selected in this one. I actually thought Springfield would do quite well this year. Clairvaux are the team that I think are going to do extremely well. Looking for Tarragindi and Willowburn to take up the final places. I don't really know who's going to struggle in this one. So I'll spare the club.
I think Spencer probably does. I've got some ideas as to who will compete. I'm not going to nominate us because that's not my place. All right, but definitely I do think
you're on here as a Springfield representative. I'm wearing the SEQFC.
Yeah, true. I'm even wearing blue. So. I understand that, but I'm not gonna be arrogant and tip us because it's not very fair. But I think you look at the other teams that are going to push. Tarragindi definitely. I think Meacock's got them pairing. He's got them where he wants to be. West side of the one that people miss because Maurizio Motto over there, Bratzer connection. Expect a few of the Bratzer lads to go over to West side. They can play. They'll be up there. Willowburn, I don't know about Willowburn. I'll be honest with you. I mean, depends which Willowburn side comes down. We're playing them this weekend. Which side's going to play against us and which one's going to be in the Toowoomba competition. It's very hard to tell. So I'll reserve the rights of Willowburn there, I think. And then you look at, there's a number of other teams that can push. Clevo will certainly be up there in the 4. So there's 4 or 5 teams in that mix. Jimboomba, don't miss them either. Do you know what I mean? They love playing us. Jimboomba love playing us. So that's going to be an interesting game when we play them, certainly.
I saw Narangba in pre-season. I thought they looked quite compact, and hopefully they can push on from last year's form. Which
I think Narangba, they'll be competitive. Obviously, they've got a coaching team there, so they've got the 2 coaches, I believe, that took the Lakes up the leagues that have come in there. So
right.
Look, at the end of the day, they know what they're doing. Just whether or not the club's willing to spend the money they have in the past, when Jamie Hillier was there, and what they spent last year on players like Michael Baird and Chambers, who they had in goals, who made a name for himself on the community forum in pre-season last year. So I agree with Scott. I think Westside will, after a few dodgy years with the new coach come in, they'll be a very solid side, especially with that Brasa connection. I'm going to tip Springfield for top. I just can't. Obviously, I train with the lads, but the players that they've got a fresh Jimmy Dunn, or James Dunn. He hates Jimmy. James Dunn from Southside Eagles QPL1. He was one of the standout players for them last year. Todd Norris, who obviously is played at a very good level in A-League youth level, and for Australia youth, and obviously scored goals for Rochdale when back in the day. Andy Butler, who's probably mid-30s now, and he's obviously played at a very high level. Declan steering the ship, whether he's going to be playing in goals or on the sideline, it's a very good feeling within the squad at the moment, and very confident squad. So I think it'll be a very good year. Tarragindi for me, as Scott said, I think they're the team to beat. They're difficult to beat at home. You get them on their little pitch. They're compact, very, very, very tidy, very physical side. They'll be the team to beat, I think, as well.
Go on, Tom. What are your thoughts?
I can't go past.
I'm done.
I can't go past Springfield. I just think, last season even, they had a lot of quality players who got injured throughout the season. But the names that they brought in this year, on top of what they have, it's hard to see anyone getting past them. So for me, I've got them at the top. I think Westside, in pre-season, they've looked quite good. They got I think it was 6-0 over Barton in the FFA Cup. It's always a bit tricky, that first game of the season. But like Spencer mentioned before, the FFA Cup, you're going to be putting out a pretty strong side. So that result did surprise me a bit. I think Willowburn, from what I saw last year, they improved as the year went on. I think they, realised last year it wasn't going to be as easy as they thought it would be. So I think they're going to be taking it a lot more serious this year. And I think you'll probably see them pushing very close to that top 4. And then Tarragindi, I think, would round it out for me. I think those are the 4.
My only question regarding Willowburn is, now that essentially Toowoomba League is part of the pyramid or the structure, they obviously field a Willowburn side in the FQPL3 in Toowoomba. So which league or which side is going to be getting the stronger side? I can't see them having all the quality in the area to be able to field 2 extremely good sides in both Toowoomba FQPL3 and Metro FQPL5.
No, that is a good point. It will be interesting to see. It'll depend on which coach, I guess, is the most persuasive.
That's an excellent point, Spencer, because if Willowburn were to win the Toowoomba League and be successful in the playoffs, the Toowoomba side, which you'd think would be their second-tier team, could make the FQPL too.
Interesting stuff.
Exactly.
And go higher
There's
up the pyramid than this FQPL 5 team.
It's like Red Bull.
Right, there we go. Tony, you still there?
Yeah, mate.
Good stuff. All right. Now, imagine, if you will, you're a team like Park Ridge, Bethania. You get your squad, you come close every season. The top teams get promoted, and you think, right, this is our year. And then the new clubs come in, and you get two clubs like Old Bridge and Yeronga Eagles, who are throwing them out money left, right, and centre. They must go, when are we ever going to get promoted? Spencer, I'm going to throw it over to you, mate.
It's always been the case in that league. Look at teams back in the day like Caboolture, St. George, Sanford. They all started down there and they all worked their way up the leagues, and they've always thrown money around. Caboolture more notably of the three, and St. George obviously. So it's always been the case. It's always been the most difficult league to get out of. Village, Park Ridge, Bethania, they're part of the furniture basically. Look, we played Village, and same situation as last year. They've put together a very strong side from what it looks. A bit of a boys' club, but it is a very strong side. But I can't go past Old Bridge or Yeronga. I can't even split them over who finishes first and who finishes second.
No, it's impossible. It's impossible. They're gonna
Yeah.
walk the league. Those two are gonna walk that league. They're gonna walk it.
Look, I was a bit skeptical on Yeronga until I saw the announcement of I'm gonna have to get his name. The guy that did I was talking to you about it last night to you about it last night, Scott. The guy that was doing the Caboolture media side of things. Well-renowned fella, but yeah, I was very skeptical on them until they signed him, and then they signed him. I'm like, that's Yeronga with the promotion spot right there. I'm not sure if you know who I'm talking about, Darren.
I do.
Yeah, the name's there. I just
Is it Carlos?
No. It's I have to. That's Yeronga.
He's going to hate us.
Manuel Garcia.
That's
Manuel.
the one.
Yeah. So obviously has an extensive history with playing with Caboolture and up the leagues with them. I remember when Yeronga were announced. Someone commented on their thing saying, "Oh, is Manuel Garcia going to sign from?" He's like, "Oh, nah." As one of the comments, and then a few weeks ago they announced, and I'm like, okay, that's them being up the league. I don't know whether they finished first or second, as I said, but at the end of the day, all you need to do in that league is finish second to give yourself a chance or basically get that promotion spot. I don't think winning it's a big deal. I think it's just getting that second spot. If you're throwing money around, you're guaranteed promotion from that league.
I'm going to throw this open to you, mate.
Yeah, well, it's shaping actually as an interesting year from our perspective. I think there's a few people who have got Old Bridge and Yeronga down as a nailed on top two. I don't see it that way, and most of our players don't see it that way. In the FFA Cup, a lot of the QPL 6 teams actually got really good results. I think it was Ridge Hills actually beat Centenary Stormers 4-0. Maroondah went to extra time against UQ, who are in QPL 3.
I will say that I never thought I'd see the day, but I actually think Maroondah will also be a threat. So it looks like they've got a bunch of, seems like Roachdale or old BPL old boys, but they're still relatively young, that have played at a good level, that have just got all together as a group of mates and thought, we want to take Maroondah up the league just for a bit of fun. And that's what it seems like.
Yeah, definitely. And there's going to be games like Bribie Island and Deception Bay, which are going to involve a bit of travel for some teams. And I think they're gonna cause problems. There's a lot of unknowns in this league. I think Yeronga will definitely be up in the top 4. I'd say they'll be top 2. I'm just not sure exactly where they'll fall. But I don't think there's any team in the league this year that are looking particularly bad. I believe
Teviot, who everyone laughs at a lot, they only lost 2-0 to North Brisbane.
No, exactly.
In the FFA Cup, so they've improved a lot.
Well, we played against them when I was at KPR last year. We played against them in the Cup, and I thought they played quite decently. We did beat them. I think it was 2 or 3-0 in the end, but it wasn't a routine win. There was moments in the game where they were definitely in control. So I wouldn't be surprised if they pick up a few wins this year as well, which would be great to see.
Yeah, I think Gabe was on their coach was on the back end of last year, and he's got them very well structured. Like, I don't think he's really got big expectations of finishing mid-table. I think he just wants to I think as long as they get more wins than the previous year, they see that as progress. There's a bit of a rumor in preseason that Matt Tubbs was out there training, which would have been huge, but I do believe that he's injured himself. So he's done. But he would have been a big get for them in goals, would have kept the score lines a bit more respectable against those higher sides. But just back to the money point, I think Leo called us out on it last season. It's all well and good, obviously, spending money, and I just want to put the point out there that you can spend the money, but basically, at the end of the day, you can spend all the money in the world, but you need to basically be able to implement a solid game plan and have a decent squad and put everything together on the park. So no disrespect to obviously clubs like Old Bridge and Riorongo that are spending money, but at the end of the day, obviously you need to have a quality coach, and hopefully that they've got that to get them to where they want to be.
And it's a welcome back to the competition to Logan Roos, and new welcomes to ACU,
No comment.
Australian Catholic University. So it's going to be interesting to see what they bring. Bribie Island Tigers, and you've already mentioned Maroondah. So yeah, fascinating little comp this year. We'll keep both eyes on this one.
I'll have to get out there and watch some games, Darren. I don't even know some of the team names I don't even know.
Yeah. So
not too far for you to go to watch Yeronga Eagles. You'll be fine.
I still don't get.
Well,
So I know last season they tried, but they were declined by Football Brisbane because they don't have their own pitch. And I know that they're now playing out of Pine Hills, but I still don't get. I don't know whether or not Braza applied for a spot in FQPL 6. I would hate to think that they did, and they were knocked back for a team like Logan Roos to come in, who have a history of, and probably still owe a debt to Football Brisbane. Thankfully, Football Brisbane no longer exists, but I just think I was actually very surprised that Logan Roos made the trip to Belembel for their FA Cup.
I was just going to say, ACU's kit this season is going to be purple and orange. So that's one to look out for this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that? It cut out a little bit. What was that?
Australian Catholic University, their kit is purple and orange.
That's horrendous.
You won't miss them?
Their kit.
Yep.
Is he glitching? What's going on?
I think he's still trying to take it all in.
He might be. It's a lot.
I know. It cut out.
It's a lot to
cut
absorb.
out a little bit.
It's a lot to absorb.
Teviot, this is a big year for Teviot Downs. This is a real chance for them to not be bottom this year, and we wish them every success in trying to do that.
They are my spirit animal in that division. I love Teviot.
There we go. Scott, is there anything that you'd like to bring up that's happening in President Land, running a club land? Anything that how's the new pyramid going for everyone? Has it been a seamless transition?
I'm not sure seamless is the word I'd use, but look, I think it's going to settle down the next year or two. I think people will get used to the new rhythm. And look, firstly, I'm very, very quick to criticise them at times, but Football Queensland have done a very good job getting the season back up and running. Can I just say, a good 2-3 weeks ahead of what I thought was going to happen. So I'm really, really quite surprised it got off the ground as quickly as it did. And look, hopefully we have coverage of refs this weekend, and hopefully, everyone gets back on the park and they're grateful to be out there. But it was interesting to see on the forum today, a few people whinging about the Metro grading not being out yet. Now, these are the kind of people, they were complaining if the sky was black, it should be blue. The sky was blue, it should be black. Do you know what I mean? Like 25 teams have dropped out. Give these guys a break. Do you know what I mean? Like their headquarter was underwater last week. Do you know what I mean? And look, we're working well with them, I think, as clubs, but it's quite frustrating when you've got the general public being ignorant like that. That's pretty silly. Do you know what I mean? That's probably the biggest challenge we currently have is the level of expectation surrounding the start of the season, I think. That's the biggest thing for us.
Yeah, definitely the time of year to not be a fixtures coordinator.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
All right, Tom. Is there anything that you'd like to bring up? Given this is your debut, isn't it?
Yeah, it is my debut. No, it's just good to start the season without COVID interrupting. This year we had the floods, but this is the first season in a little while where we've actually started without COVID. So hopefully it stays that way. And looking forward to seeing how the new structure all plays out. I think at first a few people were quite skeptical about the structure and how it was going to be, but I think it's good that clubs in the lower divisions can now have that ambition to get to whatever division they want. And it's not going to be application based like it was a few years ago with FQPL2. So, how teams get up the leagues is going to be dependent on how they play on the fields. Obviously, there are a few criteria that you'll need to meet to get into those higher leagues, but I think it's really positive to see, and I think it should hopefully improve the quality all around.
I love that these competitions are starting in March. This feels like the right time to start the season. Every time the games happen in February, it just doesn't sit right with me. This is the time to start the season.
Yeah, March through to September, October is perfect.
Yep. Yep. Tony, how many more weeks have we got you, mate, before you go back to your homeland?
I fly out on the 31st of May.
31st of May. Oh, geez. Better make sure you don't miss a show from here on in, mate.
Mate, you could always catch me. It'll be lunchtime over there. I won't be far off.
Get him on the line. Get him on the line.
Yeah, I think we'll have to.
Depending on which pub or what beach I'm laying in, that'll be all right.
Yeah, get him on the line.
He might be half a world away. He still won't miss out on the gossip. He'll still know what's going on.
Keep my finger on the pulse.
That's
I was offered a manager's role with a team manager's role at North Pine on Sunday. Under 23s.
Right.
Had I not gone overseas, because I've now, if I do decide to come back, I will only be working 4 days a week. So I will have time to put some time back in. If I wasn't going overseas, I probably would have taken it.
Right.
You gonna send any centre backs over to Ben Khan?
I'm sure he's got a checkbook there that could cover anyone he wants, but trying to find one now is a bit harsh.
All right.
I don't know who he's going to get. There's nothing around, is it?
There's always a player somewhere.
Guys, I'm going to have to head, unfortunately. I've got a couple of other things I've got to get going. All right.
Yeah, we're going to end the show now anyway, so good timing, Scott.
All right, see you guys later.
Good luck, Scott.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
So farewell, Scott, and thank you everyone out there for tuning in this week. We've got a few choices of shows to watch now, haven't you? FQ put on a show now. Good on you guys. Well done. Fantastic. Hope you keep going, and it's a great show. All right, so get to a game this weekend. Spencer, Tom, Tony, thank you for your participation this evening, guys.
No problem.
Worries.
All right, this has been the Village Law SEQFC preview show. Get to a game this weekend, buy some drinks over the bar. I'm sure that the clubs out there will need some money coming into their coffers, and we'll see you next week. I've forgotten how to end this. There we go.